Hey guys, and welcome back to the theBSofSociety. So, the next controversial character that I want to go over is Kokomi. Obviously, she's the one that's on the banner. And I would do a few polls for her because I feel bad for her, but yeah, I already did them. So, yeah. But Kokomi is really one of those that people just took one look at her and were like, yeah, she sucks. And I don't think they really understand how to use her properly. Pretty much, Yoimiya, Raiden Shogun, and Kokomi, I just don't think people gave the time to really understand them. And Kokomi really has an issue when it comes to this right here because she has a negative 100% crit rate and a 25% healing bonus. I mean, it makes sense because she's a healer. And I don't even think she can crit anyway, so it really doesn't matter if you give her crit rate or not. But anyways, so her normal and charge attacks are really nothing interesting, as usual. I don't even think this provides any healing. It's the first ability right here that starts to provide healing. It deals hydro damage around a certain area and heals allies in the same certain area, based off of Kokomi's max HP. Right, so 4.4% of max HP plus 424. Right? Now, when you activate her ultimate, if you have this ability out on the field, it will have its duration refreshed. So this ability lasts for 12 seconds. So say if you use her ultimate after 11 seconds, this ability will remain out on the field. Okay? Which is a good thing. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. So basically, when you activate Kokomi's ulti, the normal attack and charge attack, and the damage from this thing are increased based on her max HP. So basically, all of her HP becomes straight up flat attack. Okay, it's scaled off of 10.4% of her max HP. And what this ability does is it further increases her normal and charged attack damage by 15% of her healing bonus. So you can kind of see it as you have her HP, and then the healing bonus is kind of, I don't know if they would consider it as like a attack percent in a way. And keep in mind that she already gets a 25% healing bonus, so you're already getting a little bit, right? Let's see if a further increase based on her. I want to see. Okay, it doesn't show it. Yeah, I was just studying this a little bit during this little video here, seeing how it actually increases. Basically, you build Kokomi based off of HP. HP percent, flat HP, all that kind of stuff. And if you can get healing bonus, but again, I would probably just do HP. I mean, healing bonus if you get it, right? And then maybe some extra, attack percent if you can manage, but basically just straight up HP, right? And this ability also allows her to move on the water surface and, blah, 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 basically, right? Now, these effects are cleared once Kokomi leaves the field, so you basically have to keep her out to use this ability. Which I think is another problem with Kokomi, because there's a unit on Honky Impact called Divine Prayer, and she can provide constant healing while off the field. When you activate her ulti, she provides constant healing while off the field. Kokomi's like that, not like that. You have to keep Kokomi on the field in order for her to provide constant healing, and that can be a problem when you're doing stuff like Spiral Abyss, where you have a timer and you have to get things cleared in a certain amount of time. Everywhere else she's fine, but just that one scenario. And what makes it worse is this ability stays in place. This is how Kokomi should have been built. Okay? Barbara, alright, when you use her second ability, the amount of HP scales off of HP, but guess what? The healing buff moves around with the character, right? Right? The healing moves around with the characters. Right? So, I can put on Barbara over here, right? Use her second ability, and guess what? The healing stays with the character. It doesn't, you don't have to stay in one place. Okay? Which is another bonus. And then, when you use Barbara's ultimate, it just heals everybody based on her max HP. And when I was using her trial version, it was like a set of trial domains a little while ago. She was basically healing the entire team for maximum HP. Who would you rather bring? A unit that you can just cast her ability and then be done with it, or a unit that you have to sit there and use, potentially wasting a lot of extra damage that you could have had because she has to remain on the field? I think I would pick Barbara for Spiral Abyss. Now, there is a couple fights where Barbara might be a little bit more useless, especially when you're playing with a bunch of people. Specifically, the Signora fight. This fight right here, basically you're getting constant damage regardless if you get hit or not, right? Like Ashtaha, you could basically use Barbara because as long as people aren't getting hit, you're not really taking constant damage. I would say Kokomi is probably useful there too, but besides there in the open world, if you're doing like a time challenge, can you really use Kokomi? I mean, if you build her off of max HP and you can get her to deal like 8,000 damage, 12,000 damage per hit while she's using her ulti, I mean, you can kind of make up the damage. But when you have somebody like Eula who can deal 5 million damage in a single hit, who do you think is better? Yeah. And in the majority of cases, if you're a really good player and can dodge a lot of attacks, you don't need either unit. And that is why Barbara is considered a very, very useless unit, because you don't need healing. I mean, you really don't. You got food in normal open world anyways. Who needs heals? Now, I would say Kokomi is probably more useful in co-op than she is by herself. Okay? Because then she can sit there and constantly heal a team while everybody else is dealing extra damage. Right? Oh, and something I didn't say in the... No, I did say Raiden Shogun's useless in co-op. Never mind. I was going to reiterate that. But yeah, Kokomi, just like Yoimiya, is probably more useful in co-op than she is playing solo. Just because she can provide you, constant healing while everybody else is dealing damage. So basically she's just a dedicated healer. If you were talking in more MMO terms, she's basically just a dedicated healer. So you use her in co-op, you have a dedicated healer in the team. Yeah, she deals some decent damage if you build her right. But her main thing is to heal the entire team, and that's what her job is. And that's what she can do if you're playing co-op. If you're playing solo, you're losing a lot of damage, and that's where the problem that she has comes into play. I would say, just because Kokomi's a healer, she's probably very useless. But if you build her right, you can make her at least basically like another starter unit. Right? You can basically make her take the place of, say, Amber. If you were using the starter 4 characters, you could use Kokomi to take the place of Amber. Because both of them basically deal the same amount of damage as long as Kokomi's ability is up, right? You know, and this is again another reason why you have to learn your characters. See, when I used the trial version of Kokomi, I was like, dude, she's dealing like no fucking damage, not even really healing. Like I didn't really understand how her heals were working. And so I just used my main 4 characters during her trial. I mean, yeah. But you know, once you understand how characters work, you can build them to a proper status, use them with the right teams, or use them in the right areas. You know, use them where they're more needed, right? So if you're playing co-op, you could use Kokomi because Kokomi can provide buffs, not a big amount of damage, but a decent amount of damage, while everybody else is dealing the big numbers. And you're keeping them all alive during those certain fights. You know, so that way they don't have to use as much of their food. But for places like Spiral Abyss, if I need a healer, I'll bring Barbara. Barbara. Yeah. So, with that being said, talk to you guys later. Peace.
What have you done? I saw that! Those poor ducks! It was for the pigeons. Go away! I never want to see you again! Ever! I'm telling Mommy!